Good morning, folks. So I have a video here of a 2009 Nissan Murano LE all-wheel drive. Previously, I had a video on how to change the fluid for the transfer case and differential. So I ran into a problem. I started having some grinding, whining, and eventually it felt like the truck was having problems moving, like maybe the gears were actually grinding each other. So anyway, I started with I replaced the wheel bearing hubs and discovered right away that that wasn't the problem. So what I did is I took out the drive shaft, as you can see there. That's the big long piece there, and that took care of most of the problem. However, I know my car, I know how it rides, and I could still hear a little bit of noise and a little bit of grinding, and that was the drive axles that were still giving input to the differential. So what I did is, for those of you that don't know, this is the drive shaft, that big long piece, and these are the drive axles. Okay, I'll explain where they go. Let me get under the truck real quick. Bear with me. Okay, so I couldn't find any videos on how to remove a rear differential on a Nissan Murano. So let me see if I can zoom in. Hold on, let me orientate myself here. Oh, wrong one. Can I zoom in? Okay, you can see there. That's where the drive shaft goes connected to the transfer case. 4 bolts, real easy to remove. I guess my car is a southern car, so it may be easier because of that. Anyway, so you see 4 studs there. I don't know if you can see them all. Let me see. I can see them from here. But anyway, so 2 studs are for to hold the drive shaft to the actual frame of the car, and then the other 2 you see that are, I think, a little wider, are kind of like a brace to protect that coupling of the drive shaft. So here you can see is where the other part of the drive shaft goes in, input to the differential. Here, this is the differential, and here is where the drive axle goes. Those are the 2 smaller rods I showed you with the rubber, I guess, pieces at the end. So anyway, the drive axle comes from here all the way into that hole. So essentially my car is just a 2-wheel drive right now. I haven't gotten any check engine lights or any problems at all. As a matter of fact, I'm getting better gas mileage because I guess the resistance isn't there from all the moving parts. And what I did to remove this differential was, there's a bolt here. I forgot the size. I'm sorry, because I got help from someone, and that other person is the one that got the sockets and all that stuff. So you have to remove, like I said, this bolt here, nut. These 2 things you see here don't have any function as far as securing the differential to the vehicle. It's just kind of like counterweight. You can see here, this is just a counterweight. We didn't realize that until after taking them off. And this here has to come off. This nut, there's a type of frame in the back. I don't know if you can see it here, and that's holding the differential end. So it's basically those 2 nuts right here, or actually bolts, whatever you want to call them, and this one here. So it's basically only 3. You'll have 2 vacuum hoses that you'll have to remove, one being here, and then a smaller one here in the front. You can see, and then there's a sensor that you'll have to remove. Just be careful. Seemed like it was pretty fragile. I had a hard time removing it. So, my options now are, obviously my mechanic told me, hey, I can do the whole job with a used differential for $900. I'm like, you know what? Just go ahead and take the drive shaft off with, which he did. And that's the only help I got from him, because I don't have the lift to do it myself. So I came home. I figured, hey, let me just take the drive axles off, which I did. You can see the holes there where it goes. And that took care of the problem. No more grinding, no more noise. The car was as smooth as ever and better gas mileage. So what I'm doing now is, let me get out of here. You can see here the metal parts that came out. That differential was destroyed. I'm not sure what happened. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to shop for a used differential at a salvage yard. At least on eBay, it looks like I can get them for $200 or more. Just depends on who you buy it from. I'm going to see if I can get it locally, maybe a little cheaper, so there's no shipping involved or any of that. The differential itself, honestly, is not heavy. Maybe 40 pounds or less. I was able to take it off, and obviously it was a little harder to take it off, but I'm the one that picked it up and slid it in when we put it back. The reason why I put it back is because I don't want to drive my vehicle with the vacuum hoses open and the sensor disconnected. I don't want to get check engine lights. So I'm going to do the shopping around for the differential and then install it, because I'm able to drive it now, but I don't want to drive it without the differential or the differential disconnected, because I may have some issues later on. And by disconnected, I mean the vacuum hoses and the sensor connector. So as you can see, this isn't very heavy. It's really light. I was surprised. If it weighs, honestly, 30 to 40 pounds, that's a lot. These are actually heavier just by the size. They're probably 20 pounds, but given the size, they're actually heavier than the drive shaft. That's all the advice I can give you. If you come across any issues as far as your differential, check your bearings. The only reason why I replaced them is because once it was out, I realized, hey, this is not it, because they were spinning just fine. I'm still on the fence as to where or if I'm going to replace the differential, because I live in the South. There's no snow. I don't go mudding. This vehicle is not for mudding. So I really don't need all-wheel drive, but I'm going to see if I can get a good deal, and I'll use differential and maybe just slap it on. But if you don't want to put in the money, don't have the money, or you're just practical and realize, hey, you know what? I don't need this crap. I'm just not going to put it in. That's a quick fix or temporary fix, depending on which route you want to take. I hope it helps. That's what I did, and hopefully it can help some people out there.